Hey YouTube! Oh, I don't use that. Oh my gosh, who am I? Hey y'all, it's Fortune Frankly and welcome to Fortune Frankly Fridays, where we do DIY home decor and more. In today's video, we're doing some woodworking, specifically woodworking with dowels. We'll be using dowels for every project. I have done one other woodworking project on this channel before, and you can watch it after you watch this video. The only power tool you'll need for all of these projects is a drill or an impact driver. And for now, I'm keeping it that way just to make sure that all of the projects are pretty accessible and that you all can try it out if you don't have access to like a lot of tools. With that being said, let's get started. For our first project, we are making a plant stand. Plants can be expensive and so can planters. Like, can you at least give me one here? Who says the prices for these? I see them in store all the time, but I was like, I can totally make that. So that's what we're gonna do today. For this project, you'll need 4 super thick dowels and 2 medium dowels, a planter, a drill and a spade drill bit, and some spray paint. There is something missing from this list, which is a screw, because I, at this point, did not even think about how I'm going to connect the 2 pieces together. You'll see what I'm talking about. Starting with the planter, I'm going to measure the diameter of the top and the bottom, and I'm going to take the average of the 2 measurements, which leaves me at about 6 inches. Use those math terms, okay? Now for my medium-sized dowels, I'm going to measure the 6 inches and then cut them to length with a handsaw. Now taking the really large dowels, I'm just going to measure it against the planter to see how far I want them to go up on the sides. And for the other 2 of the big, really thick dowels, we're going to lower that point a little bit because we're going to create a cross section. I'm going to use my spade drill bit to drill a hole, but I'm not going to go all the way. As you drill, make sure to clean it out. You want your drill bit to not have a bunch of like wood particles on it, and you don't want a lot of wood clogging up your hole. Now we're essentially making an H here. Is that an H or is that a U for UM? I don't know how to do an H. And the H stands for hole means. Now taking a regular drill bit, I'm gonna drill a hole through the middle of each of the medium dowels. Make sure it goes all the way through. Where we take the 2 larger dowels on the side and connect them with one of the medium dowels. Now I'm going to just fill those holes with some wood glue. I would recommend scraping the holes out just so that it's level inside, which I'll show in the next project. And I'm going to clamp it together for a little bit while it dries. Now taking the H, I'm going to stack them kind of perpendicular to each other. You want the middle dowel that is set a little bit higher to be on top. Then you want the lower one to be on the bottom. Now I'm going to screw in a screw here, just starting at the top, and then just lining it up so that it screws into the bottom piece and secures them together. Now things are a little wobbly and not super straight here, so I'm going to put this on the bottom. This is like what you would use for furniture legs so that it doesn't scratch the floor. And all I'm going to do is cover this with some spray paint. This is a chalked spray paint, so it'll look really, really nice. Put your planter on there, put your plant inside the planter, and you're good to go. For project número 2, we are making a jewelry stand. At first I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these pieces because I'm working with some scrap wood that I had for another project that never saw the light of day, but I think you'll really like this one because I was really impressed by how it came out. For this project you'll need 2 small planks of poplar wood, 2 super large, super thick dowels, half of a medium dowel, and 3 smaller dowels. 4 screw-in hooks, a regular and some spade drill bits, a metallic spray paint, and some wood stain. Starting with the screw-in hooks, I'm going to paint those first. I'm going to put them on this piece of foam and cover them in a gold spray paint, because this white is not going with the theme here. Doesn't this look like an optical illusion? We thought there were 2 and now they're 4. Now taking my wooden plank, I'm just going to measure it out. It's about 12 inches in length and about 3.5 inches in width. I'm going to take some quick calculations to find the middle of the width, and I'm going to mark that out. I'm also going to measure how far from the outside I want these dowels to sit. Now here's where some of the experience starts to kick in, so pay attention. I'm going to use a piece of tape to determine how far I should drill into my wood planks. We're not going to be drilling holes all the way through, so this is kind of important to determine the depth. Now I'm going to use this wood carving tool to chip away at the wood that's inside there. You'll see like the bit creates kind of a ridge, you know, like a Grand Canyon or something, but like the inverse, which I guess is a mountain. But I'm going to chip away at that so that the hole is level. Now taking the 2 bigger dowels, I'm going to mark the middle. Then I'm going to mark 2 dots on either side of that first dot, kind of equidistant from each other. Now a mistake here is that I used a regular drill bit to drill a hole through the dowel. We wanted to come out through the other side, and actually using a spade drill bit works even better in this case. The holes ended up being too small and they were just really off center. So I did go back in with a spade drill later on to widen those holes a little bit. I'm going to mark out where I'm going to put 2 smaller holes because I'm going to set some dowels in there as well. We're going to fill the 4 larger holes we made with some wood glue, set the large dowels into the holes, and enclose them with the top wooden plank. These clamps were not big enough, you know, it was just slightly too small. So I just set something heavy on it, kind of try to balance it out and let it dry for a little bit before I readjusted things. Now taking that medium dowel that is already cut in half from our previous project, I'm going to cut it in half again. I'm going to put some wood glue in the smaller holes and then put the pieces of the dowels into those holes as well. Now I'm going to stain everything using this wood stain called Early American. I would suggest staining all the pieces first, letting it dry for a day or so, and then assembling this whole thing because the wood glue can kind of mess up where the stain starts to take. I'm also going to stain the 3 small dowels that we have and let it dry for a little bit. Now on the sides at the top, I'm going to drill some pilot holes, just like a really small, really shallow hole, so I can get the screw of the hook into there. And I'm going to screw 2 kind of closer to the edges. And I'm going to do this on both sides of that top plank. Now all we have to do is put the 3 small dowels through the holes on the big dowels and you're done. For my 3rd and final project, I thought I would make something to hold some of my makeup. It wasn't obvious, you know, I dabble a little bit here and there in some makeup. I really like eyeshadow, and I have quite a few eyeshadow palettes that I have a hard time storing. For this project, you'll need some thin wooden planks, 2 medium wooden dowels, a spade drill bit, starting with the planks, I'm actually going to clamp them together so that I can drill some holes into it. I'm going to mark out where I want the holes to be and make sure they're equidistant from either side of the edge. Now I'm going to use my drill to drill a hole through all of the planks. Keeping them clamped together means that the holes will line up pretty well. And I would suggest starting from the front, drilling through a little bit, and as it starts to get through the back, reversing that and drilling through the back. This will make the wood less likely to splinter. Sand the holes down just to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And we can start putting the dowels through the planks. I discarded the 6th plank just because it was really warped, like it was bent out of shape. So we're going to use 5 planks instead. I'm going to space the planks out, just kind of seeing where I want things to go. Then I'm going to apply some glue around the circle so that the plank is connected to the dowel. And I'll add the glue at the back of each plank. I'm going to flip it over and make sure that the whole hole is encased in some glue. This will just keep it from wiggling and moving around. And I always use Gorilla Hot Glue for these projects just to make sure that it don't move. We know how strong Gorilla Glue can be. After that, all you need to do is spray paint it, and you have your palette holder. Alright, welcome back. Now these woodworking projects actually came out pretty well. I really like all of these. I think they're pretty useful and something like I want but don't want to buy. I would have to say from a technical standpoint, I really like the jewelry stand holder just because it's so multifunctional and it's kind of a different take on a lot of jewelry stands that I see. But I'm curious to know, what was your favorite project and what would you think of trying out from this video? If you're feeling lucky, you can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things. And if you're not feeling lucky, I'm so sorry, but I hope to see you again in the near future. I hope everyone is staying safe out there, and as always, thanks for watching.